Hey, if you're ready to find out what's going on in Southwest Florida, we're going over the weekly trends for both Lee County and Collier County in today's video. So let's get right into it. Starting us off with just an overview of the actual market stats so you can see exactly what's happening in our MLS. New listings are at 1891. You can see how large that bar is. That is a lot of listings for just the past 7 days. You can also see compared to those new listings, only 486 have sold. So that right there is giving you kind of an indication of what the market is doing right now. It is pretty slow. So there's a lot of listings coming on the market. Not many are actually closing. Pendings, we have 800. So that is a good sign. That is an uptick in pendings, meaning there are more people putting homes under contract right now. I do expect being in season, we will see this go up, but that right there is showing that the market is starting to pick back up again for buyers. Price increases, obviously 92, not many. Price decreases, though, here's the big story, huge amount of price decreases. That is because a lot of sellers still aren't getting back into the norms. They're still thinking that we're back in 2021, 2022, where you could ask for higher prices and the market was still going up. Right now, the market is coming down. So we're finding in conjunction with there being a lot more listings on the market right now, sellers are having to decrease their prices and they are having to offer concessions. So for buyers, it's a good time right now if you're able to buy. Again, this is not saying that you should go out and buy right now. If you're able to, you're not going to have to face the competition. You're going to get a lot more options on the market just because there's a ton of listings. Concessions, sellers are giving up those concessions right now. So, in terms of those attributes, it's a good time to buy. Again, the market is still coming down. How much longer it will come down, nobody really knows that for sure. But I think we are going to see things pick back up now that we are in season. Competition's probably going to get a little bit more aggressive, but not anything crazy. We are still in a buyer's market. So let's break down for Lee County where we're at with median sales price. You can see right now we're just getting back to kind of the norms that we saw last year, the same time. So we're up $12,000 from last year. That's a pretty good, still a pretty good appreciation rate for median sales price, but still we're not, you can see it started to come down when it was in the off season. Closed sales, this is a lagging indicator of what was going on 30 to 45 days ago. You can see same week prior year, it was down 160. We're up to 143 right now. So last year we had a lot more closed sales coming in. But again, 10% is not a huge amount considering the numbers that we're looking at. New pending sales, this is what's going on right now in the market. Pending sales over the last 7 days means homes that were put under contract, people made offers that were accepted. So we have 270, that's up 3.1% from the same time last year. It's also up 6.3% from last week. So we do see things starting to pick back up. You can see the swing right here. As soon as the new year hit, we saw it start to skyrocket. A lot of new listings were rejuvenated from last year's contract. So a lot of new listings came on, but people are putting them under contract. Active inventory, this is kind of where, we're at all-time highs right now. If you saw my video from 2 weeks ago, you'd see that this is an all-time high for our area. So this is Lee County, but it's the same thing for Collier County, just not quite as much. These are all-time highs going all the way back to 2017, so well before the pandemic. So again, for buyers out there, that gives you a lot of options. For sellers, that gives you a lot of competition. So that's why prices are coming down because there's a lot of competition out there and there's a lot of options for buyers to choose from. Buyers do dictate the prices for homes. New listings, again, like I said a couple weeks ago, usually at the end of the year, a lot of contracts expire on the end of the year. And then they're either renewed, which is why you usually see a huge spike in the first couple weeks because a lot of people, their contracts end. They take a week maybe to think about it and reset, and then they decide to relist. And a lot of those contracts come back on. So there's usually a huge spike. But again, 741 new listings, not crazy compared to what we were looking at, 3 years ago. There were a lot of listings that came on, but they were going off just as quickly as they were coming on. All right, now taking a look at Collier County, which is a very different market from Lee County. It's just a different price point down here. So let's compare them separately. Median sales price right now is at 930,000. That is down 11.4% from last week, but it's up 25% from the same time last year. So that could be skewed by just a few really large houses. However, you can see it does kind of come back to the same price points that we were at around the same time period last year. Up quite a bit, but the following week, 127, which will be in a week from now, it was at 935, which is right about where we're at right now. Closed sales, again, an indication of what was going on about a month ago. We were at 59 closed sales compared to the same time last year, 58. So pretty much right on the average. But compared to last week, we had 79 listings, so that's down 25% from then. But again, you can see the oscillation back and forth, up and down. We're right on that median where we were the same time period last year. New pending sales, again, this is a leading indicator for Collier County. We're at 120. That's up 50% from the same time last year, up 15% from last week. So we do see things starting to pick up. Naples is a very high demand area. So I expect to see more demand in this area than we would in Lee County. Again, people who are moving down from Chicago, New York, big cities like that, they want to be in Naples. That's where it's at. That's kind of where the affluence is. So I do expect with season now here and people moving down here or staying down here for the season, they are going to be looking around to make their purchases for their retirement homes or vacation homes. Active inventory, again, this is close to all-time highs, not quite like Lee County, but still very close. 3,174 active properties listed right now. These are just single-family homes. That's up 28% from the same time last year. It's up 3% from last week. It was starting to level off, but then we see that spike and climb up because of those expired listings coming back on the market. New listings. Again, this is going to be telling you what's going on right now over the last 7 days. We have 282 new listings, up 5% from last week, up almost 38% from last year at the same time period. So we do see the market starting to pick back up with new listings. Again, that is why that inventory is growing. Active inventory is so large. And again, as you saw earlier, the amount of closed sales is, although it has picked up, it's been low compared to, last year and the years before when we were in that hot market. So things have slowed down, and I expect that's what we're going to continue seeing. So in terms of what's actually going on in the market, here's my take. Things have really slowed down. Sellers, there's a lot of inventory built up. You have to kind of take that into consideration. You're going to be competing against a lot of different properties. So what you're offering, whether it's the price, whether it's the amount of concessions, whether it's some of the work that you offer a credit back at closing for, those are going to be the things that help you stand out compared to other properties. It's really not the type of market where you want to be competing, head to head with another property as far as price or one of those other concessions go. You have to be giving your buyers a reason why they should pick your home over somebody else's. For you buyers, though, like I said earlier, it's a pretty good market if you're looking to get a good deal because sellers do have a lot of competition. They know that. They have to give you something. Concessions is where it's going to be at, whether that's through inspections or just the fact that things need to be fixed or need to be replaced. They know it needs to be updated. They just don't have the money to do it. So they may offer you a credit at closing. Other places to look are for pricing. Pricing is coming down because there's a lot of competition and there's not a lot of buyers out there right now. So you guys have a really good chance to get a pretty good deal. And, if I was a buyer or I was working with a buyer right now, I would be telling them to probably make an offer that you're comfortable with. Don't feel like an offer is too low right now because it is a buyer's market. Something that's maybe $50,000, $70,000 low, that might be pushing it. But something that's 20 grand low, it's really not that far off, especially with the amount of competition. And if a seller needs to sell, again, if you're talking to sellers or your agent's talking to sellers, make sure that you have them ask the question, what is your seller looking for in an offer? If they're looking for speed because they already moved into another place, that gives you a clue. You got some negotiating room and some bargaining room. But if they're like, yeah, we don't really need to sell, well, then you know that they probably don't need to budge on price all that much. So that's a really important question to ask the seller. So make sure you do that or make sure your agent does that for you. Otherwise, it's a good time to buy for buyers who can do it and can afford it. Again, interest rates are higher. Prices are still up, but they are coming down. The big thing is flood insurance. Make sure if it's in a flood zone, you know what those insurance costs are going to be because that can really skew whether or not you can afford it or want to afford it. So that's my take for this week. I hope you guys got a lot of information out of this. If you have questions about the market or about being a buyer or a seller in this market, feel free to reach out to me. All my contact information is in the description. I hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, stay safe, stay positive, and more importantly, stay free.